Hello everyone, my name is Kurazar, and welcome back to the Vintage Story Guide. What's that? We're not at home again? This has happened before, hasn't it? Well, let me tell you why we're not at home. And it has to do with the gentleman hiding around the corner, right over my shoulder there. So I was out on a bit of an explorer, and when I say a bit of an explorer, I mean we are through our translocator, and I have gone all the way up here and expanded our explored area, just doing some off-camera exploring, doing some more core samples, trying to find some new rock types. And I figured you didn't need to see a second episode of just me digging holes. But as I've been working, I've been going from trader to trader, and I found a new building materials trader, a new clothing merchant, agricultural, a commodities merchant way up there, and then finally, right here, right up here, we finally have met Horace the Luxuries Merchant. And boy, Horace, are we glad to meet you. And check out the cool stuff that he has. So he has a whole bunch of like jewelry, things that you can just wear. He's got some carpets. He has some clothing. He has the Forlorn Hope chest and leg pieces, which are pricey but very enticing. And he has some yellow and blue glass, in addition to some ornamental weapons, arrows and spears. I am so excited, and I'm so happy that I brought our gears with us, because I intend on buying him out of, well, some things. I'm deciding whether I want to get the breastplate and or greaves or the glass. I can get probably some of all of them. Yes, thank you, buddy. Yeah, I'm still looking. Don't pressure me into buying things. I am going to have to make a purchasing decision here soon, because he gets new goods in one day, which means it might be worthwhile for me to buy a couple things and then come back in like 28 hours and see what else he has. And that might just be what I do. I'm going to do some inventory organization and probably drop this chest and fill up and put it on my back, and then I'm going to go in there and buy a few things from him. Always got bookshelves that we can't buy. And this is an echo chamber. This is what we can play the Resonance archives on. And yes, it is just a vinyl record player. This find is perfect because there was something I had in mind for around the house, something I wanted to build, but I needed to find the materials for it first, and we have found one of them in the form of new colors of glass. So I am very happy that we found this guy. Anyway, I'm going to buy some stuff, organize, go digging, see what stone's here. Maybe we'll find some chert or some bauxite, I'm hoping, because I want something nice and red to work with. Although we do have that redwood. That could be an option. And then we'll head home and we'll start on something new and I hope interesting. Let's get to it. Now I wanted to take a moment here and note to you guys that I did find some soybean seeds that we can take back and plant with us. They weren't growing in the fields around here. I found them in a couple like loot vessels, just the freestanding above ground ruins. And so, decently lucky find. They're somewhat of a unique crop, so we'll take a look at them when we get them home. Anyway, Horace, today is your lucky day. You're already rich, but I'm going to make you richer. Cha-ching. We'll do that. Oh, that feels good. Okay. And check out this horrible armor. It is in rough shape, but you know what? We're going to take this home, patch it up, and we will look mighty fine in it. Now, for those of you who are not aware, Vintage Story 1.17 Pre-Release 1 dropped just a few days ago. And we are not upgrading to that because that is basically there for bug hunters. So if we wanted to go and try to find bugs and, I guess, break our game, we could. But we have not upgraded this world to 1.17 yet. And I'm not going to until we are at 1.17.0 and at least some of our mods have caught up. At least the important ones. Oh, sphalerite. Nice. Anyway, I've started taking core samples from the water, because that way I don't have to worry about ladders. And at least for now, there isn't anything terrifying down here just yet. So I'm going to abuse this while we can and find out what's here. Apparently zinc. Not too shabby. And if you're wondering why I have a stick and grass fire starter in my hand, yes, it is because I did the dumb thing and I burned my torches out. And just as with quicklime, it is easiest and fastest and efficient to just heat the whole stack up and then drop them in one at a time. Okay everyone, it has been a bit over a day and I have been out and back. I went to the southeast from here, found another artisan and a building materials trader and some terra preta, and I also poked my head down some caves and I came back with some more galena bountiful chunks, and that is great because we are out of galena and we want more lanterns. And yes, I know there are other lantern types, but I liked Melodichalcos. So let us see what our good friend, what was it named? Harold? Horace. Hey Horace. Sorry, I remembered your name. No, really, I did. You, ooh, yes. Okay, you have refreshed your goods, and boy, did you ever. I'm glad I bought some of those when I was here earlier, too. So, looks like he has traded out the yellow and blue glass for red and green, and we don't need the green because we can make that. And, oh, he has the Forlorn Hope Estek. Oh, that's a nice one. I mean, it's kind of like a worse version of our current sword, our Blackguard short sword, but it is neat to have. It's a sort of souvenir thing. And a chandelier. Oh, these are nice too. These you can put candles in, and they are, I think, the brightest light source in the game. I'm not positive on that one, but I'm pretty sure. But you know what? We are just here for the glass. So let me see. I forget how much glass I bought of the other kinds. I bought 16 of each. Okay, so we'll just grab 16 red glass. Hey, buddy. You have all my gears now. Okay. Well, I am very satisfied with this transaction. I am going to put the glass in here, chuck you in there, and I am going to hightail it home, and I will meet all of you when we are back at home. Ah, home at last. We are finally here. It's been a day of traveling, and you'll probably notice that between episodes I did go and find some more limestone gravel, and I managed to line all of the paths on this side of our road up to the house, and I've put the bricks for the sort of half blocks on the sides on this side, but we haven't gotten to the rest of it yet because, well, it's still a big old hole. I also did, as promised, go and find us some full skeps, and I put them on posts here, and I put some flowers around them. And I might replace these posts with something, I don't know, some kind of chiseled object at some point, so we'll see. But that will be a job for the future when we do some sort of like detailing episode where we go through and sort of just fill in some of the details that we could get to or that have not gotten attention in the past. So I'm going to go and unload my inventory, and we will start talking about what today's project is. Okay, inventory emptied. I have real food again as well, although I do want to eat these cranberries, get them out of my inventory. And before we get on to today's topic, I do want to go ahead and plant these soybean seeds we found, because they are an interesting crop. And let's see, this field is recovering, so we will just plant them in here. And just like any other seed, drop them in the soil and walk away. Anyway, today's episode is about lighting. And I know we've sort of touched on lighting before in terms of upgrading from the torches to the, I don't have any here, but any of the oil lamps, and then to the lanterns. But there is technically one better, actually two better sources of light than the lanterns we have. The first is that you can actually create a lining for a lantern made of a silver or a gold plate and insert it into the lantern after it's been created. Kind of like how when we put the green glass into the lantern over there, you can right-click with a plate and insert the plate into the lantern. And this will increase its light level by 2, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when you realize that the radius of one of these things is actually already pretty large, you'll see that an extra 2-block radius is actually quite the improvement. Let's go down into our pit of shame, and I'll show you what I mean. So this area down here is lit by only 2 lanterns. I'm going to pick up one of these, and then we're going to grab you, and we're going to just see how far this light goes. Put it on the ground, actually. There we go. So we head back up here. We take ours off. We can see that the lantern light actually extends really far. It's something like, I guess we can tell, 18 blocks. Now, drifters can still spawn in light level, I believe it's 7 or less, might be 8 or less. But, so there is a threshold where basically about here, we're safe from drifter spawns, but out here, we would not be. And the way that area works out mathematically, it's actually a really big boost to the lighting radius to add 2 blocks of light, or 2 units of light, to these lanterns. In fact, as I recall, it almost technically doubles the number of squares they cover with their light. And boy, let me tell you, I am absolutely sick of getting these rifts that hang out right here at the edge of our lantern, and they hum and buzz at us for hours on end, and they make drifters spawn in our basement. And I've put some lanterns out here to try to just cut down on that, but it's not perfect. And maybe even after today's exercise it won't be perfect either, but it should be one step closer to getting us a drifter-free house and drifter-free basement. So, why don't we go and see for ourselves just how much better these lined lanterns are. I happen to have, in our blacksmith over here, 266 nuggets of silver. Now this is enough to make about 10 plates, and we're going to go ahead and make one, and I'll put it in our lantern. For the ones that are around the house, though, I kind of want to do gold lining, because the lining, as you'll see, actually does change the look of the lantern, and the gold inside the sort of dark Milby Chacos looks really nice. It looks very classy. But for now, let's go ahead and I'm going to grab a bunch of these out of here, and we're going to... I need a shelf for these things. But we are going to grab one of these, and we are going to fire up some silver in the crucible. In the crucible, Kurzar. There we go. But we'll start with this, and I'll bring you back when we have a silver plate. And I just realized I need not 20, but 40 silver nuggets. I'm a goof. In you go. Now that we have our glowing piece of silver that's somehow not setting our clothes on fire, let's go ahead and add it to our lantern. So first, we have to have the lantern in the world. You can't actually craft it in the grid as far as I'm aware. Nope, doesn't work in the grid. So we're going to drop our lantern, and then we're just going to right-click it with our silver. And you can see the interior of this is now silver colored. And that silver is sort of like a reflector for the light that it has, and now it is brighter. And I think you sort of saw the lighting change when we put it down. So let's go ahead and take this, and let's go compare it to the lanterns down, actually, how about outside? So even just looking at it, I can tell that this one is brighter. And maybe this would be better if they sort of lined up, but look where they meet, and look how much shorter this sort of extra bit is here compared to that bit over there. It's basically 4 blocks smaller. And the area that's protected is going to go from about here to more like this. So notably larger. So what I'm thinking is that for now, because the exterior lights are doing so much heavy lifting in terms of keeping out the drifters and the rifts, I think I want to focus on these exterior lights first. if we have any leftover plates, we can start on some of the interior lights, but honestly, we have so much more lighting. It's sort of just clustered so much closer together in here. I don't think we're going to have any problems lighting in here, and we honestly haven't had any problems yet anyway, so I don't see it being a necessity. Now, for aesthetics, I would like to have some fancy gold-lined lanterns in here, but that's a secondary concern after the rift prevention is. Now, on top of the scattering of lights to prevent rifts, I would also like just some nice mood lighting, especially in areas that we don't care as much about. Like, I don't really care as much if we have a rift over here somewhere. It's not going to be spawning any drifters in our basement. And during the day, it won't be a threat because, you know, it won't spawn drifters. So I think, like, for places out here, I want to sort of come up with some kind of, like, small pedestal to put some smaller lights on. Probably the little tea lights or the oil lamps. Like these guys right here. These are nice for lighting your way, even though they don't block as many spawns. In fact, they only block spawns in, I think, like a 2-block radius around them. Might be 3. It's something pretty small. So, Kurazar, you ask, how are we going to go and get that gold? Well, of course, we're going to go mine it out. And on our map, we have marked out several different places where we have found gold before. They're mostly off to the west. We have 2 over here by a furniture trader that we found a while back. And there's one farther up here. Here we go. Up near our old home, just south of it. And that will probably get us enough for, I'm going to guess, maybe 10 gold plates. Oh, and there's one down here too, that's right. So we might have 10 to 12 gold plates, maybe even 15 if we get really lucky. We also do have, down here, we have found a couple places where there's gold right here, right below our translocator actually, and I think, yes, I found one down here when we were coring and taking samples. So we're going to hit as many of those as we can, and I'm not going to bring the blasting bombs with us because, one, they have a chance to destroy the gold bits that we're after, and 2, since we are going to be sort of combing through those quartz deposits, there's a chance we might find some more crystals, and I do not want to run the risk of destroying any crystals. So I'm going to pack up my bags and make sure we have enough food this time. I took like nothing with me when I went to find that luxuries merchant, and we're going to go and get us some gold. Let's get to it. You know, we're almost at the gold mine, but I saw this depression here, right next to one of our resin trees we've been harvesting here and there. And I have a sneaking suspicion, so... Yep, thought so. Okay. So we are adding to our collection of meteorites after having depleted almost all of them. And here we are. Here is the native gold bit we found. And I think we already checked this. Yeah, that is... Could go one more block down, I suppose. Yeah, that is not a meteorite. But let's go ahead and we're going to pick this guy up. Get a gold nugget, and down we go. Oh, it's right there. Wow. That's pretty easy to get. Okay, well, let's drop our ladder, and I'm going to get to work digging out some of this gold. Actually, in this case, all this gold. Okay, everyone. That was about 36 in-game hours of work, about a day and a half. And to wit, we have 17 chunks of poor native gold. We have 9 rich chunks of native gold, and 22 bountiful chunks of native gold. So we have already a pretty good amount here. I also got 1 poor crystallized chunk of gold, and this will be going in our collection. As well as I did get 1 piece of poor native gold ore for our ore samples. Well, I'm going to get this home, and I might crush this up to see just how many ingots we can make out of this, which will mean how many plates we can make out of it. And then we'll start moving toward the other ones. I'm leaving this trunk here full of all of the quartz and green stone that we mined out, and I am just going to leave this here because we have so much quartz at home, we do not need any more quartz for a while. So I'm going to head home, and we are going to pick up some more pickaxes, and then we will head right over here. We might not even hit both of these, depending on how much gold we get, but we'll see. So we are home, and I have crushed up that gold, and we have just a little over 6 plates worth of gold nuggets, which is pretty good. I think I want to get a little more. I'm going to say, let's go for 12. That means we'll hit this other deposit over here, and I suspect these two might actually be part of the same deposit. So we'll go hit this deposit, and we'll clean it out, and then we'll bring it all back, and we'll start on some lighting. Well, so I came to the first of the 2 locations, and they are actually 2 locations. However, there was only a little bit of gold here. This isn't a very big quartz deposit, which is kind of unusual. We only got 8 pieces of medium gold and 1 poor chunk of native gold, as well as the usual sample. So I'm going to back up here, and I'm going to take a quick jaunt over to this spot here, where we did find some more gold. And hopefully this one will offer us something more. Otherwise, we may have to take a trek over to the other side of our translocator here. Well, sorry to say that one was a bit of a bust. We got 5 more pieces of poor gold, which is 1 nugget each. So we are going to head back home. I'm going to rejigger my inventory for a bit of a longer travel, and then we are going to head off to the translocator and hit the other side real quick, and hopefully our claystone area will give us what we're looking for. Okay, here we are, about to go to the other side. I didn't think we'd be coming back here again this episode, but here we are. Beam me down, Snotty. Okay, I guess there is just no time like the present. You have the goods. Yes, okay. Well, I'm going to get to work here, and I will see you all on the other side. Well, we haven't gone very far, as you can see, but right over here we found very large amounts of chromite. I've never seen this before, so I kind of want to check this out. Is that chromite right there? I think it is. Hey, look at that. Okay. So this requires steel to break. Okay, I guess we're not going to get this. Yeah. Nothing's happening there. Okay. Well, I'm going to just mark this off with a ladder so nothing spawns here. And we are going to remember this is here. Okay, that was fun. Back to mining for gold. Well, everyone, I didn't get that much more, but it is bountiful. So I'm thinking we're going to have about 8 or maybe 9 plates for adding to our lanterns. So, kind of a bust overall, but we'll get the job done. I'm going to bundle this up and head home, and I will meet you there. Well, we are home finally, and I actually ended up stopping at another mine that didn't exist before I found it on the way home, but right here I spotted a piece of quartz on the ground and figured, hey, let's dig down, and I used the pro pick and found a rather plentiful source of gold. So we're coming back with a lot more gold than I expected to. So let's go ahead and smash this gold down, and then we're going to smelt it into ingots and then hammer those into plates. We have enough for 15 plates exactly, so that's actually right within my estimate. So I'm going to go ahead and get this working, and alright, our crucibles are on the shelf now, and then I'll bring y'all back when we have 15... Oh, nope, we have 15... 7. So you can do 7 gold plates, which isn't a whole lot, but for some of the areas around the house that really need the extra light, it'll be quite the boon. So, and let's go ahead and heat these guys up. Now, since we've been away for a while, I think it's time that we go and check on our southerly crops in here. And I think we have some finished, yes we do, finished rice and sunflowers. So, finished rice has this sort of golden look to it, and that's how you know it's done. Or you can just, mouse over it and it'll say rice 10 of 10. And sunflowers, when they're ready for the pickings, they kind of die and sort of lean over a bit, and that's how you know that they are ready. So here we go. And no fresh seeds, but we got 25 sunflower grain. Unfortunately, none of the traders buy sunflower bread, so this grain is kind of only really useful as food for yourself, really. Now rice. You can make rice bread for traders, and that's why we've done this. Rice itself is actually a slightly more filling grain than the other grains are. Most things that are made with grain have typically about 30 units more satiation per unit of grain than other grains do. Although when you eat it raw, it is the same satiation as other grains. I don't think our soybeans... Oh, hello! That was fast. Cool. Oh, but you're dead. And you're dead. And... wow. Wow. Okay. Fine. Be that way. Our soybeans aren't quite ready yet, but those should be done here in, I'm going to say, 2.5 more days. So we'll come back to them then. And I'm going to go ahead and replant these seeds in this plot over here. And then we're going to go check on our metals. Well, I goofed. And this is what happens when you don't put enough coal in and walk away. So, yep, back in a few. Now that we have all 7 gold plates, let's go see what kind of trouble we can get into with them. Let's put one in you, and look at that. Oh, that is classy. That is so nice looking. Let's put one in you, and you, and you, you. Ooh, definitely you. And, ooh, do I do you or you? Tough one, tough one. I think you. There we go. So now we're going to have just a bit more light around our home here. And with our gold lining in our lanterns, let's go mess around with some colors, because I spent a little bit of time hammering out the molybdenum ingots into plates, and I made us some more lanterns. So I thought we could take a look at how these colors work out in a nice dark room, aka the Pit of Shame. And this way we won't have the sun or moon getting in the way of us seeing what we're doing. Let's get this out of here, and we have a very dark room. We have a very dark room. There we go. Let's actually keep you in a hand, I guess, and we're going to put a few lanterns out here. There we go. So in Vintage Story, unlike that other block game, there is an actual light shader that is used when mixing light colors. So if we take, for example, a green lantern, a blue lantern, and a red lantern, you're going to see that in the middle here, they actually combine to make white light. And where each individual one intersects, you get actual different colors of light. Really nice for lighting up an area outside or indoors, anywhere, with some kind of neat, like, party mood lighting, or maybe mystic fairy lighting, or some other kind of lighting that, you know, could be explained by colored lights. And you'll see that if we replace the green one over here, and we pull out a yellow one, and drop you here, and make you yellow, there we go. See, the effect isn't quite the same. Like, the light here isn't white, it's sort of, kind of a, honestly, a little bit yellow. Maybe a little bit red, because yellow has some red in it, as far as light's concerned. So using this, we can make some pretty cool effects outside, and I think for now, since we haven't finished doing any landscaping that I wanted to do yet, I think I'm going to just put a green, blue, and red one, maybe even a yellow one, out in the roundabout circle, and we'll leave them there for now, and then we will go and light up the rest of our home with smaller tea lights. But I just think that this sort of light effect is really cool. You don't always see this in games with the different colored lights. And if you're carrying a light of a different color, let me just pull this out of here, you'll see that right now the light there is purple, but my light actually changes that color. So your dynamic light actually interacts with the block light, which I think is really cool. Let's bring the red one down here. There we go. So now we have yellow light, and now we have some white light right in the middle here, and then we have some blue-green light. Really fun. So let's do our red one, say here, do our green one here, and our blue one will go there. There we go. Mystical, magical, RGB, just like all the keyboards in my house. Because you can't get away from it. And with all that, I think, except maybe around the back here, I can maybe put one more, yeah, I could put a lantern out here. But I think aside from back here, we finally have everything covered, and I put the yellow lantern right out here. So now we should not be getting any drifters in our basement. Boy, is it bright now. It's like daylight out here. And I'm starving. Now, the last piece of lighting we want to figure out is that I want to put little lights sort of lining our paths around our home here, but I don't want to like super brighten the area. I don't want to take away all of the night. I just want to dampen it somewhat. So rather than putting lanterns all around our roads here, we're going to put some of these guys. And these can be placed either at the center of a block or on a wall like this. And for some places, like along our farms, like right down there, we have them on the front parts of the walls there. But I think for along the paths, I want to have them just on, not necessarily the ground, but I want to have them lining maybe on something. And so I've been doing some experimenting, and I've discovered that this is the smallest chiseled block that you can place one of these on. Now granted, once you have something chiseled and with an object on it, you can keep chiseling it away if you want, like so. But if I pull this off and then put it back on, it won't let me. It says it requires a solid block. So this is what, a 6x6 microblock square? So this is the minimum surface area we will be working with, and I was thinking it would be cool to chisel something interesting. And to that end, I have brought along a myriad of different blocks to play with in different colors, and I thought it would be cool to fiddle around with different designs for this. I have a couple in mind, but I haven't really settled on anything yet, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down a trunk, and I'm going to start messing around with these blocks here in what is now, I guess, unofficially, our chisel room. I think this is the design that I'm going to go with. I knew I wanted to have some sort of like inlay here. Didn't know what color, and I had also been thinking about having sort of a hollow part you can see right through. And I did think about maybe putting the inlay in the center here and then having these top and bottom parts be hollow, but that sort of didn't feel like enough color. And I tried, well, I mean, you saw, several different colors, and I think the darker ones just don't work out because they get kind of lost inside here, because there's a little bit of shading from the SSAO, the screen space ambient occlusion, that kind of darkens the colors a little bit more, especially on certain sides. Like this one's bright, but come over here, less bright, and over here, very dim, and over here also pretty dim. And so I think a bright color is going to work best. And I did like the redwood, but it was just kind of too pale. Like I wanted something a little more vibrant in here, because this is going to be the only color we have around the house, at least the landscape, in winter. And this just is too pale. So I think, since we don't have any bauxite yet, which is a very brilliant orange stone, I think we're going to go with the sandstone. Yes, I like it. And then we'll have our little lights on it, just like that. So I'm going to basically redo this by hand so we don't have to copy it with all these blocks in it, and then I will drop some sandstone in, and then we'll go copy these. And with the power of editing, the replica is done. And actually this is the real one, this is just the prototype. So there's something that I haven't done with the chisel before in this guide series, which is you can actually rename your blocks. So here, see how if we look at it, the tooltip at the top says Slate Rock. If we hit the tool key, which I believe is the F key by default, it is not the F key for me, one of the options here is Set Name. And once you have it in Set Name, you can right click and you can rename your rock to whatever you want to call it. Pillars of Light. There we go. Pillar of Light. Perfect. And we currently have 16, 24, 26 oil lamps, so I'm pretty happy using all of these. I don't really have a use for them otherwise, but I think I might put a couple of them... Well, you know what? Rather than sticking them on the sides of these, we could just put them on pillars. So let's do it. Let's make at least 26 of these pillars. So what I'm thinking for these pedestals, that's a better word than pillar, is I want to line probably both sides of the road, so we probably won't do the whole thing today. There might be areas like along the front here where they're going to be more decorative than anything, and I might come in and do these later, once we have more of the oil lamps. But I think let's start, say, why don't we start right here? And I think I want to put them on the grass rather than on the gravel. Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, I think on the gravel is going to be a little too close, a little too claustrophobic, so we'll put them on the grass. And that means our second one is going to go probably about here. And let's put a couple of these lights on top of those. Not like that. And that means we can actually recoup this guy here. Don't need him anymore. And then, let's see, let's put the next one, say, here. And I'm not really counting blocks, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I think that'll look a little better, eyeballing it rather than making it too perfect. And yes, here we go, we can actually do that here too. Take this guy off of here, and put you right there. There we go. And then I do want to match these on the other side, so the only place we will count will be when we're trying to match them on the opposite side of the street. So there we go. There we go. And that means we'll have one... this might be a bit different because we have an intersection, so we'll put you... actually, right here. That might work. And here, I'm going to leave it empty for now. I might make another set of these, and maybe put our lanterns on that instead, actually. That could look good. Let's put one here. Here mostly lined up. There we go. So then we'll have one right about here. And I guess we won't have one here. I don't want to move the flowers. And then we'll have one... We'll have one right up here. It's kind of a little far, but I don't like it being like right here, because I kind of stand here when I'm chopping our reeds here. So this kind of lines up with this one here, so we're going to go down a little ways like... here. We'll do here. And across the road, but since this is a diagonal road, we're going to go diagonal a bit. There we go. And then we'll have, say, one here. Even though we don't really need it because the lantern's there, but that's okay. These are to dress up the place. Now see here, this looks a little too cluttered, so I might move some of these around a bit. You know, I might just take this guy out and replace this guy here. No, that's not, no. Yeah, I think I like that better. Just that one extra was a little too much. So let's go down here, and maybe instead of the ones here, maybe these guys we can then move to, say, here. Yeah, let's try that. Yeah, that's better. And then, will our chickens tolerate us being this close? Ooh, we have a lot of them. It's time to call their numbers. But let's put one, I guess, here and here. There we go. Let's put the next set, thinking here, right before the stairs. And we might move him. Actually, we might even just do... Oh, we can't do that. Okay. So we have the pedestals for the other roads all laid out. And again, I'm foregoing the pedestals in here because we're going to be using the alternate lighting here. I might come in eventually after we've landscaped, and I might put a couple in just to sort of keep this sort of consistent pattern of pedestals so you don't sort of miss them anywhere. And then I think the next place we want to put them is going to be out here. Now, we haven't done terraforming here, so that means we're going to have to get this in and get moving on that. But that, I think, is going to be a tale for another day. I've been at this episode for 6 or 7 hours. This is probably the longest episode recording I've done, even though the substance is just light. I spent a lot of time looking for gold and finding not a whole lot of it. Well, everyone, I think that is about what we're going to call the episode for today. I hope you enjoyed our little adventure in finding gold and quartz veins, as well as applying gold and silver plates to lanterns to make them brighter, and colored glass to give them different colors. This is going to be sort of an ongoing project because finding gold is a very slow process, and we weren't super lucky today, and we're also going to be needing to expand our lighting as we expand our home here. Also, just as a reminder, if you have a question you'd like me to answer outside the comments, please submit it with the hashtag 20questions. These questions don't have to be about Vintage Story. They can be about anything, really. Sort of an AMA style thing. Feel free to let loose, and I'll answer them in the sort of informal format of the 20 questions. As always, my name has been Kurazar. Thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.